What is going on, everybody? How is everybody doing today? So in today's video, I'm going to be kind of informing you or just talking about top 10 prospects for the 2023 NBA draft that you should have your eye on in this upcoming collegiate, like overtime league, G League Ignite, international seasons for the draft. So yeah, I'm going to be giving you guys 10 guys, kind of like a ranking of my big board, but that really doesn't matter. I'm just going to be going from like 1 to 10. Also just some honorable mentions or other guys you should keep an eye on, just where they play for, what positions they are, what they're good at. And yeah, if you guys enjoy kind of draft style content, feel free to drop a thumbs up on this video. I would really appreciate it. I know you guys do kind of enjoy the draft content, so I'm pretty, I'd be like down for this to be like a draft content channel where I talk about collegiate players or international players, stuff for the 2023 draft, because I do enjoy that myself. And if there's anybody I missed that you think we should keep an eye on this season, that could be a draft riser, like a Jeremy Shohan, a Dyson Daniels, or even look at Jabari Smith from this past draft. Please let me know in the comments below, and let's get into this. So number one, we have Victor Wembanyama. He is clear-cut the number one prospect in this draft. He's most likely going to go number one in the 2023 draft. He's one of the best prospects we have seen in a minute, or at least one of the highly touted, hyped up prospects. Not saying he's better than Luka Doncic, not saying he's better than like Anthony Davis was where they are at this age, but he is going to be a really good NBA player. Now, he's 7'2", he has a crazy wingspan. He's about 230 pounds, which is solid. I know you probably would like for him to get maybe that weight up. He's definitely more built out than Chet Holmgren, so I wouldn't be that nervous, but there is some worries when you do have players of that size. Now, some of the best players ever are above 7 foot. Shaquille O'Neal, Bill Russell, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Hakeem Olajuwon, but you have your Kristaps of the world that have had their injuries, Chet Holmgren, and those guys, it is scary when they're so tall and they could seem skinny, but he's got a 7'9" wingspan. He's pretty built out. He's gonna be one of the league's best shot blockers. I think it'd be like a pretty good perimeter defender. He's going to be an insane inside scorer. I think he's kind of what Chet is, but just somehow a little bit more like dominant, right? Like he's going to be much better inside scorer. He's going to be a lot more physical, and Victor Wembanyama is going to be the guy you want to follow. Now, he does play in France. It's crazy that he's born in 2004. Like, it's just wild that those guys are going to be in here. But yeah, he's a center. He plays in France. It's going to be tough to kind of watch their games if you're over in the United States, so you should probably catch a lot of YouTube stuff, but they do play the G League Ignite this year. I believe it's going to be broadcasted on ESPN in October, I believe it is, so definitely take a look at that when that is going to be televised, because he's going up against the next guy we talk about who's going to be in the overtime league. But yeah, Victor Wembanyama, watch as many highlights as you can of this guy on YouTube. He's insane. Next up, we have Scoot Henderson of the G League Ignite. He is a point guard. He's my number one point guard in this class, and yeah, he's going to be an incredible ball handler for G League Ignite. Now, Jaden Hardy was supposed to be a top 5 draft pick going into the year, played for G League Ignite. His draft stock plummeted. He still was a first round pick for not really being all that great in the G League, but he's a good rebounder for his height. He's a great scorer. He could be a solid shooter in the league. We'll see how his shooting efficiency is for the G League Ignite this year. But yeah, we'll see how he kind of goes up against those guys as well. But he's going to be a good ball handler. He kind of matches up with some of the other top point guard prospects we've seen over the years. I think he definitely has more hype than Jaden Ivey did. Maybe just kind of like their age and where they've been at their point of their collegiate or I guess, amateur career, He's up there with Cade Cunningham, I would say. I think Cade Cunningham is a better prospect, but you really should try to watch Scoot Henderson's game. He's plays for the G League Ignite, and I think a lot of their games are broadcasted on ESPN+, so if you do have that account, definitely recommend checking him out this year, because he's going to be a top 5 pick, most likely if he doesn't just completely suck for the G League Ignite this year, but he's been really good up to this point where I think he's going to solidify himself as the best point guard in this class. Next up, we have Nick Smith Jr. He plays for the Arkansas Razorbacks, so our first collegiate player here. He is a point guard, kind of slash shooting guard. He is 6'5", 180. So he could play maybe up to that shooting guard position. He's projected to be a pretty solid defender there, so he could be the 2, so you're getting kind of maybe that Jaden Ivey combo guard style play. And he's going to be compared with Scoot Henderson this year. Who's the best point guard? Who's point guard 1 of this draft class? And it could very well be Nick Smith. Now, say what you want, what's the more competitive style play, if it's collegiate, G League, collegiate basketball, but I'm excited for him, or I meant international, G League and collegiate, but I am very excited for him to play in the SEC, going up against teams like Kentucky, Auburn, Florida, LSU, Georgia. The SEC has gotten so much better in college basketball over the last 5 years, where he's going to be going up against a lot of competitive teams that are good defensively. And then obviously we'll see him in the SEC tournament. We'll see him like regular season and in March Madness, because Arkansas is going to be pretty good this year. They do have a couple other guys on their team that I will mention in this video, but Arkansas is low-key sleeper candidate for being one of the best teams in the SEC this year, and just one of the best teams in college basketball. And I would keep an eye on Nick Smith, because I think he has a good chance of being a top 5 player and a top 5 pick in this draft. So next up, we have one of 2 twins in this draft. Yeah, this is so cool. This is like Markieff Marcus Morris that we saw back in the mid-2010s when they came out of Kansas. I forget if it was like 2013 or 2014. Could be even wrong. Could have been like 2012. But yeah, like we have Asor Thompson. Sorry if I'm butchering it, of the Overtime Elite League. Yes, so Gene Montero, who was taken either in the second round or was an undrafted pick. I think he was an undrafted pick by the New York Knicks last year. He came from the Overtime Elite. But Asor Thompson is projected to go in the top 10 along with his brother, Amen Thompson, who we'll get to right after him. But yeah, he's 6'7". He's projected to be more of a wing. Could be like a 2 or 3. And is kind of projected as the best wing in this class. He's up there with other guys that I'll obviously get mentioned into. But he has crazy athleticism. Him and his brother are just athletic freaks. And I'm very excited just to see kind of their pre-draft hype, to see if they, like them playing in the Overtime Elite, are they still going to be top draft candidates? It is tough to kind of get a hold of their games. You can go through the Overtime Elite website, but it's a lot of like YouTube film, Twitter videos, and stuff like that. And yeah, and same with his brother, Amen Thompson, who is 6'7", but he's more of like a point guard, shooting guard type, and like Asor is more of a shooting guard, small forward type. He definitely has better ball handling skills, but I think Asor Thompson is the little bit more athletic one. You could correct me in the comments below if you know more of them, because they came out of, I believe, high school in California, and like I know that is really big over there, or at least maybe they played at a different school. But I know they're from California, at least in general. Yeah, he's playing with his brother on the Overtime Elite League. It's going to be cool to see which one maybe emerges as the top Thompson twin going into the draft. But yeah, it's going to be really cool to kind of root for these guys as twins in the draft, because that is just super cool to see. We'll see if the Thunder draft both of them. Like, that would be wild. Next up, we have the best collegiate wing player, who actually just got hurt, and that is Derrick White. So he's playing for Duke this year. So we did just have foot surgery, and we have 2 months till the season starts. So I don't think, like, I think he'll be fine at least before like January by then. He should be back 100%. So we'll see him throughout the ACC tournament. We'll see him throughout the kind of March Madness, because Duke is going to be really good. They have a sick team. They have another player that we'll get to. Yeah, they have like 2 top 10 guys here in this list. But yeah, Derrick Whitehead is going to be one of the best wings in collegiate basketball. He's projected to be, I think, a top 5 pick. We'll see if he kind of is higher than Asor Thompson by the end of the year, but he's somebody you definitely have to keep an eye on, like especially if you're watching ACC basketball, if like you're a UNC fan, NC State, Clemson, I don't know, like your favorite ACC team, you'll probably watch Derrick Whitehead play basketball. He went to Montverde Academy. He is 6'6", 190. He's going to be a beast. He could be a 3-level scorer in the NBA one day. Next up, we have another wing in collegiate basketball, and that is Cam Whitmore. He is at Villanova, which is going to be pretty cool, because Villanova, you know, they're top freshmen. They never really have these guys that could be like top 10 picks as freshmen. Like some of the other guys, like Josh Hart, Jeremiah Robinson Earl, I believe Sadiq Bey wasn't a freshman when he got drafted. And then like you obviously had like your DiVincenzo's, Mikal Bridges, I don't believe that they were freshmen as well, Jalen Brunson's, I don't know, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but yeah, he's going to be a true freshman, and he's 6'7", great size, great athleticism as well. Like this dude can jump out of the gym. He's going to be playing for Villanova this year, so you'll be able to catch his games whenever they primetime games. I mean, they're a powerhouse program, even without Jay Wright this year, but yeah, keep an eye on Cam Whitmore. One of my favorite players in this class is Kiante George. He's going to be playing at Baylor. This dude is just a lights-out scorer. He's 6'4", about 180. He's going to be playing in the Big 12 for Baylor. He's coming out of IMG Academy, and I think he could be a shoo-in top 10 pick this year, just because of his scoring ability. He's got great athleticism. I think he's going to be a solid shooter for Baylor this year, even though I think he will still have the intangibles, just watching a little bit of his film. I'm excited to watch him this year. Obviously, like, these kids are so young. Like he's 18 right now. I believe he'll be 19 when he gets drafted. Like, he could just have an amazing season at Baylor, and he could show that he could be a 3-level scorer and a dominant guy and a top 10 pick. Or he could just kind of fizzle out, and he has to stay another year at Baylor, or just kind of like the Peyton Watson thing. Still kind of crazy that he went in the draft last year as high as he did. But yeah, like Kiante George, love him. Excited to watch him at Baylor this year. Next up is Dillon Mitchell, also playing in the Big 12 at Texas this year. Yeah, Texas, like they produce some good collegiate players. Not a center, because, you know, they have like their lineage of centers there with like Mo Bamba. Aldridge wasn't a center, but at least a big man. They also had Jackson Hayes. And then who was the other one I'm forgetting? It is Miles Turner. That's the guy. And there's probably even another Texas center. But yeah, Dillon Mitchell's somebody that's kind of been on my radar pretty recently. I didn't really think like last year this was a guy to keep an eye on in 2023. But another guy out of Montverde Academy. He's projected to be a top 10 pick. He's 6'7", good intangibles. Very excited to watch him at Texas this year, because I think he could be a hit or miss guy. there's like some comparisons to like a Kendall Brown, not like exact style of play, but maybe just kind of frame and seeing what they are in the Big 12 next year. And we know Kendall Brown kind of fizzled out, still was drafted last year in the 2022 draft. But yeah, Dillon Mitchell could be a good player this year for Texas. Would keep an eye on him, especially if you like Big 12 basketball. And lastly, we have our second center mentioned after Victor Wembanyama at number 1. It is Derrick Lively, also playing at Duke. Mentioned that there was another Duke player when I mentioned Derrick White. But yeah, he's 7'1", 215. This guy is going to be a beast. I think he's going to be a better player than Mark Williams was for them this last season. I think he could be better than Jalen Duren was. Now, like, Duren, like, that class wasn't the greatest outside, like, the top 5 when it just came to pre-draft hype, you know, or just, like, collegiate, like, pre-2022 collegiate season hype. But Derrick Lively's going to be really good for a really good Duke team. He's going to be insanely physical inside. So if you want to keep an eye on centers, keep an eye on Derrick Lively. So yeah, those are just 10 guys that I think you guys should keep an eye on. Just other players that I think you should watch as well is Carson Wallace. He's a point guard at Kentucky. Amari Bailey, he's a shooting guard at UCLA. Khalil Ware, he's a center at Oregon. Terquavion Smith, he's a sophomore at North Carolina State. So I think those guys you should also keep an eye on this year because they could wrap out the lottery. I doubt that all 14 guys that I mentioned is going to be the exact lottery picks. So don't really take that with a grain of salt. But yeah, these are guys you should watch next season. If you guys did enjoy this video, feel free to drop a thumbs up. I'd be down to post more draft content on this video. And yeah, drop a like if you enjoyed the video. Let me know if there's anybody I didn't mention that I should have down below. Love you guys, and I'll catch you on the next one.